Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video. Now, recently a viewer asked me, and she told me that she always had problems in making fried rice. Her fried rice always turned out to be mushy. And when I learned more about how she makes fried rice, I realized that she makes fried rice using minute rice. And she will use it directly after she make the rice. And that is not surprising that her rice did not turn out okay. So I decided that I'm going to make a video and show for people who are not familiar in making rice how to make a rice that will be suitable for making a good fried rice. Now, the best way to make rice is to make it in a rice cooker. A rice cooker make it much simpler because all you have to do is push a button. Now, rice cooker became very popular in the 1950s, and ever since that time, for family who cook with rice, they always use rice cooker. And the rice cooker comes in many different types. This one I have is a very simple one, and it comes with a stainless steel inner part, which I really enjoy. And the main reason is that it has no non-stick coating, so you don't have to worry about anything to be peeling off. Now, rice cooker come in different sizes. This rice cooker can accommodate 5 cups of uncooked rice to give 10 cups of cooked rice. Now, the question is that how did you wash your rice? And usually, most of the rice today that comes out already washed. And the reason you wash the rice is that you want to remove the starch that might be still remaining on the surface of the rice. And in this case, you rinse it usually until the water runs pretty much clear. Some people really don't worry about it that much. And when you cook rice, the ratio of rice to water is usually about 1:1, or slightly variation of that depending on the type of rice. And then all you have to do in this particular rice cooker is the very simple one. I would call it a one-buttoned rice cooker, and it only has one button, and you push the button and the cooking will start. Now, this rice cooker also has a button that allows you to turn on the warmer or not, but most rice cooker doesn't even have that button. And usually it takes about 30 minutes to cook rice, and the rice usually turn out to be perfect, particularly if you are familiar with the rice that you use and you know exactly the amount of water you put into it. It's usually the ratio between water and rice that is the most variable aspect of cooking rice. If you change the amount of water, your rice either will come out to be more dry or more wet. Now, I find that the best way to turn your rice is use a rice paddle like this one. It has this texture on it. And this is truly a great paddle because in the past, rice always would stick to my paddle. But in this case, no rice stick to the paddle at all. Now, rice has really excellent shelf life. You can store rice up to 10 days. Usually, I would try to store the rice as soon as I cook the rice so that it will reduce the exposure to microorganisms. So leaving them open, that's more likely for you to reduce the shelf life. So I pack my rice into a plastic container, but I normally do not heat my rice in the plastic container. I use a knife to cut out the exact portion that I need for a particular meal. And this makes it very simple and also very precise in terms of how much rice that you want to use. And rice actually can also be frozen. You can freeze them, but of course, then you take time to thaw them out. Now, today there are many different kinds of rice cookers on the market. In fact, it can be quite confusing. Some of them are really expensive. In fact, the most expensive rice cooker can be about several $100s. But rice cooker also can be very inexpensive. In this particular case, which is a rice cooker that one of the viewers told me about, it's only $23. And he really liked this one because it comes with a stainless steel inner part, which is nice because you don't have to worry about the non-stick coating peeling off. But then you also can have rice cooker that is expensive, complicated, and sophisticated. This rice cooker has a computer program chips in it, and it allows you to cook many different kinds of rice. And this has much greater flexibility. It can cook different type of rice, such as white rice, sushi rice, brown rice. It can make porridge. In fact, it can even use to bake a cake. And this type of rice cooker is far more extensive and sophisticated, but most people might not need that. So when it comes to make a fried rice, what are the criteria of good fried rice? Of course, different people have different ideas, but most people generally agree is to have a rice that the rice kernels are slightly fried. Well, I guess that's why they call it fried rice. So a mushy fried rice is not a good fried rice. Now, fried rice often has eggs in it. Now, different cuisines use fried rice differently. The egg is probably the most popular version, but there are some cuisines that do not use eggs at all. Now, I normally use eggs in my fried rice for a couple of reasons. One is that it improves the texture of the fried rice, and also the eggs provide additional nutritional value to the fried rice with the protein that are provided by the eggs. Now, quite often, I will season my eggs with my wok with tak basic seasoning mix. And the reason that I use this seasoning mix because it contains umami molecules in it. It will enhance the savoriness of the egg. But it is low in salt, so it will not enhance or increase salt consumption, which most of the time we all try to avoid. Now, when you cook fried rice, if you have stored the rice in the refrigerator, which is necessary to cook a good fried rice for at least 24 hours, the longer the better. And once that rice stored in the refrigerator, they stuck together. And it's important to break them apart. So when you cook the fried rice, the individual kernels can be fried to the texture. So I find that I use what I call a hamburger meat masher, which for breaking up hamburger meat, and it worked really well. And I break it up in a mixing bowl first. Now, when you cook fried rice, there are many different approaches. The approach I'm going to use is to first cook the egg. And it is important for you to have a non-stick cook surface because if the eggs stick to the surface of the wok, then the dish will not work. I use my spot seasoning method, which is very simple, and I just heat up the oil until it starts to smoke for about 15 seconds. And the wok is now seasoned. As you can see in here, the egg do not stick to the surface of the wok at all because it starts to bubble almost immediately. And when I use my wok spatula, I can easily move the egg around. And this is an essential step. But it also demonstrates to you is that a stainless steel wok is easily to be seasoned and create a non-stick cook surface which will be suitable for this type of cooking. And because of the lack of non-stick chemicals, it makes it much better in terms of generate the heat, as well as, of course, it is safer. Now, you notice that the rice are already broken down into individual kernels, or at least as much as I possibly can. I know as I continue to stir fry the content, the rice will break up even further. Now, you notice that the important thing when you cook a fried rice is that you want to make sure you constantly move the rice around. And in this case, I can leave my burner at the highest setting without the ingredients getting burned. Now, if you notice that things start to get burned, you must be not moving fast enough, or your burner is too hot. In this case, my burner's rate is just about right. Of course, it gives me a little bit of exercise on my arm, but it works out really well. The next is that I add a small amount of frozen vegetables. That's the reason that I do not want to add too much, because the frozen vegetable will add fluid to the ingredients to the rice in the wok. You do not want to have any moisture in the process, because any fluid that you introduce to the frying process will reduce the temperature, and consequently your rice will not be fried properly. Again, remember, the term fried rice means that you do actually want to fry individual rice kernels so they take on a crispy texture. And that is usually the definition of a good fried rice. So as you can see, that as I continue to move the rice on the surface of the wok, my temperature is still set at high, but nothing get burned. And this is probably an important point for you to remember in regarding heat management. If you get things moved around, you can cook at very high heat. Otherwise, things are going to get burned. Now, this fried rice turned out to be really quite well. It achieved the objective or the criteria that most people consider to be a good fried rice, that the kernels are well separated and they are slightly burned, and when you enjoy your fried rice, you will have that culinary experience of that crispiness, which almost we all love and enjoy. Now, a fried rice like this, like I mentioned, it guarantees you that it will turn out good. But this is really a template. You can't adjust many of the ingredients in this fried rice. First and foremost, as I mentioned, you can adjust the amount of eggs in it. But at the same time, you can season it differently. And there are many different ways to season a fried rice. However, the important concern in this case is that not to season it with something that will add moisture to the fried rice. Okay, I hope this video provides you with some basic understanding of what makes a good fried rice and why it is so important that the rice has to be properly prepared. And if you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, which is flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and tempeh based cooking, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.